really thank you though for showing up today. It's excellent to be able to finish up the series, kind of wrap it all up in a nice tight little bow, give you as much as I can before you decide to take off for a few weeks and then come back for the fall class and do it all over again. What? Yeah. So we're in the Revit Management Training series, of course. Session 16, which is, if you had seen the book, it is a blank session. There's nothing in it. Why? Because, well, it's a Q&A session. It's a kind of close up, hey, make sure everything was all right, invite you to attend the next class, and make sure that you got all the information that you needed. But as you can see, Series 16 is a Q&A session. Unfortunately, I did not get any questions written to me, emailed to me about the class. So it happens. It's all right. We all get caught up in other things, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions early on. So if you have some questions about any of the topics, and let me just go all the way back up to the home page here and just kind of review everything. Set my screen a little bigger there for you. Okay, so BIM user manual. How many people actually started writing some sort of BIM user manual? Kind of took that outline that you got, started filling in the blanks, what your company standards are, what are your concepts. Like, this is a process. This is a long-term process. It's going to take you months and months and months. It should also be a collaborative process. I would suggest maybe making a Monday morning quarterbacking thing, a weekly, bi-weekly meeting. Hey, we want to talk about what our new Revit standards are, and set that up. I mean, a lot of companies have a CAD council or some sort of CAD situation where you have more than one person putting input in. Use that to your advantage. Best practices, all that stuff. Session 2, all the pieces of the puzzle. That was the handout for you. That was, what are you doing? Who are you? Where do you want to go? What are all the things you're going to need to know? Here's the 30,000-foot overview of the entire class. And I'm sure Laura was already filling out some of that stuff as we went through. Others of us, not so much. You know, just listened, and it's okay. It takes about 3 times. Because if you weren't fully into Revit before you started taking this class, then you're kind of learning the product as well as all the knowledge, all the head knowledge, all the management side, and the user side, the long-term implications of what's going on. So that was all the pieces of the puzzle. Did you feel like I missed anything? I kind of tried to do a really good overview on that session 2. Session 3, central file, local file. What are you going to do with that? Setting up, naming convention. Let us take this and deal with this one issue now, because this is important. So in 2010, has anyone made a final decision on what their central files shall be called? The question becomes, because it's normally it used to be like project name _ central file .rvt. Oh, I'm sorry, my screen's paused. There you go. Woohoo. So in 2010, this naming convention works or does not work? And why doesn't it work? And nobody's typing in questions, nobody going anywhere. Well, it works for the central file. Have you done it in 2010, Cameron? This is a different one, by the way. Okay, so the reason why I bring this up is because, sorry for the shorthand, everyone. I should have just typed out because. It's because in 2010, the user makes it automatic. Or Revit does, I guess. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And boom. Okay. So if I were to go and open a central file, Well, first off, let's create a new central file. So we can just get that whole little loop done. It's going to take me about 2 minutes. But some of you haven't gone through creating a central file, so I figured why not. So you have a basic file. You go manage, collaborate, work sets, enable work sets, yes. So this is now taking a central file, pulled the trigger, red pill, blue pill, you've gone down the rabbit hole. Congratulations, you're in Wonderland. Or in the Matrix, whatever. Like 4 different references all at the same time. So this is now a central file. And I'm going to save this somewhere. And I'll show you where I'm going to save it here on my own pretend server location. I just have to get there. Give me just a moment. Oh, maybe it's down here. Nope. So under my classes, right, this is a Revit management class. I just have my series resources folder so I can explain your network layout. So you're going to have a server somewhere. In the summer session, we've named it BIM support. We've got all these different kind of layouts. I've given you good, bad, and uglies on that. So under your BIM support, no, it's not under the BIM support. It's going to be under the server, your project server, however you're laying out your project. So whatever your current project name is, however you decided, used to be, this is what happened. Central file. .rvt. So I've saved the central file. That's wonderful, Will. Thank you very much. Central file's there. Now the user is going to have to open the central file as a, hold on, I'm just pulling the location for myself. Properties, I don't want to have to go through the network all over again. Copy. So the central file has been created. You've decided to pull the trigger. Great. Now the user itself, the user itself, is going to go up there and open the central file. And notice what happens whenever I select the central file and what's highlighted down here. Create new local versus detach from central. Oh, I click on detach from central, creative. Okay. So I'm going to create a new local file from there, and all I have to do is click open. What physically happened is right now Revit is saving the central file to a local location determined by the pull down options and file locations to that path. And if you can notice up at the top here where my name is, or where the project name is, it takes the project name as it existed before, which was the file name is the actual word. It takes the file name, which happened to have central file in it, and then appends that with the username. So that's why I'm asking, does it still work? Because it used to be in 29. It was, you know, project name, and then whenever you have the local file, it's usually that's the you know, username or something like that. How many people think it's actually an issue? I hope no one raises their hand. It is not an issue. It really isn't, because all we have to do is just tell everybody, change your file path, settings options, change your file locations to that path, and Revit will do the rest for you, so long as you always open it with central file. I mean, so long as you always open it with the open dialog box from Revit. It will always create a new local file for you. And you'll always know that the local file has that user's name appended to it. It's the real question is, do you want central file in that name or not? And maybe it's an issue, maybe it's not. Maybe I just wasted 5 minutes of everybody's time, quite possibly. So those are kind of the things that I like to point out throughout the series. You know, did you get a lot of little tidbits like that? I'd love some feedback, by the way, because that would be helpful. All right, central file, local files. Did you make good notes on that? Standard family, which it actually now has been termed loaded family, finally.